Hi, friends. Thanks for joining us. Smash that subscribe button below. Thanks for all the growth in the past couple weeks. Congratulations to the huge fan who won the Milt Stegall jersey. You'll be seeing that at Banjo Bowl. Can't wait to meet you. Benny, where can they find us on social media?
Yeah, congrats to her as well on winning that. You can find us at Ray Benny Sports. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everyone's favorite TikTok, and check us out on Reddit and join the conversation. And don't forget to leave a rating on your favorite podcast provider.
Woo! We got Winnipeg Jets Talk brought to you by Fahrenheit Airbrushing. We got the CFL Talk and NFL Talk, but let's start off, of course, with our Winnipeg Blue Bombers and the Banjo Bowl. Man, your boy Ballsy refuses to call it the Banjo Bowl because his feelings are hurt. Give me a break. Like, would he have an issue with the Grey Cup? Well, I guess we won't know because they don't win it often enough. But anyways, let's go.
4 championships, right?
112.
I saw it today. I can't remember where I saw it, but the fact that someone said Claros has half of the Grey Cup rings that Saskatchewan has.
Ooh. It's the truth, though.
It is.
And it's rivalry time, so it's getting a little personal. Sorry, Rider fans, but not sorry. Bombers, Roughriders, what boxes need to be checked for the Bombers to win? You go first.
I basically flushed last week. There was a lot of things that, ended up going good, but a lot went wrong. And, that slow start by the Bomber offense, we've been harping on that for all season, basically.
Since week 3.
It's just that BC game lately. That's the only one I can remember that they ended up starting quick. So, again, offense, start quick, a lot quicker. Get Oliveira involved. And if things are struggling in the passing game, like you said, they were going downfield a lot last game. If that's not working, let Oliveira pound that D line early, and maybe that'll open things up and get their receivers, Claros, more time to find those receivers.
In regards to finding more time and what the Bombers need to do on offense, what do you think I'm going to ask for?
O-line protection.
That and
blocking.
Play the heavy set.
Oh, the heavy set. Sorry, yeah.
There you go, with a tight end. Not only do they need that to open up some play, but they can beat the shit out of the Roughriders front 7 with that. They can bully them and they can run them over with Oliveira. Let them get momentum, get them far into that linebacking core without getting touched, and he can just pound that Rider D at the beginning with that heavy. And you can get what's his name? The guy who replaces Jeff Gray, Dobson. You can get him in early, and both of them will get some momentum going and some, cohesiveness on the line. So I think really using that heavy set is beneficial for them to start the game, especially.
Yeah, if you have to take one of those receivers out for bits and parts of that, first half of the game, even go ahead, do it, man. I don't think any of them are going to complain. But yeah, that heavy set needs to be used, and like I said, it's worked. It worked a lot against BC. The guys were open; they had time.
And with the heavy set, and we'll get to this in a second, believe me, with special teams, you can afford to maybe take Dembski out and maybe he can take some punts because he is darn good at doing that, or he was when he was in Saskatchewan. And he can also use play action on first down. They see that heavy set, they will bite on the run, and that'll open stuff up over either on the top or short intermediate. So yes, heavy set and O-line play.
Yeah, and like you had mentioned, or you retweeted someone that Janarian Grant's now out till October at least, right? And McRae has been put back on the practice roster. So is it going to be Jamal Parker returning kicks and punts? Or maybe Dembski is moving there to do one of them, at least kick returns, possibly?
I would love to see Dembski because he has it in him as a returner. But
they got to do something.
Valuable receiver.
Yeah, but when you have the other guys at receiver that can take, help out, basically, then Dembski's a little bit expendable to be used. Obviously, you want Dembski playing wide receiver as well if you can, because he is fantastic. And he steps up in these games, especially against Saskatchewan. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do there. But they got to figure that thing out.
And with Dembski, they call him the Canadian Swiss Army knife. Use him like that.
Yeah.
Use him more in the playbook as a running back and a wide receiver. Really get Saskatchewan's defense spread out and confused. Because when he's on fire, it really opens up the rest of the offense. You can say that about anybody, but really the way they use him can really mess up Saskatchewan. Any other boxes that need to be checked?
Yeah, just with the whole headbutt, suspension, all that, is just keep emotions in check here in this game because it's going to be chippy. We saw it last week, even before the headbutts. Guys were in each other's faces, right? Claros was in a few guys' faces, Saskatchewan guys, and it's all fine. It's talking, it's whatever, it's nothing dirty. But I can see that ratcheting up a little bit more even in this game with that suspension out there. So there'll probably be a few penalties, and the refs will probably be quick to call these penalties this time. So keep those emotions in check, and just play their game.
Absolutely, I agree, especially with these teams being the top two teams in regards to not getting penalized.
Yeah.
The less you can take, the better chances of winning. And that's not like some kind of analysis. That's just fact.
Yeah.
Also, don't obsess with the long ball, please.
Yes.
Use the short and intermediate routes when they give them to you, and they are there. And you do have wide receivers that can run those short and intermediate routes, so please use those.
Yeah, for sure. Stop that return game. They got to contain Mariel Alford in this game. If Mariel Alford's given great field position again from the 40 to midfield kind of thing, it's going to be a long day for the Bombers again, because Saskatchewan's almost in scoring range. Lawther is feeling it. He'll hit those 50-yarders. So
with confidence.
Yeah, and the crowd, man. You guys are going to need to be rocking in that stadium.
Oh, I got that bell ready, boy. I got that bell ready. Special teams does need to step up.
Yeah, all
net
around
punting. Net punting, they're bottom half of the league. Gross is even worse. The second last in kick return average and last in kick return average against, and they've given up the third most big plays in the return game. Which leads me to believe, knowing that Mike O'Shea is that special teams guru and knowing that they do have depth on that roster with talent, it sounds like execution, or I'm guessing as a fan, it's execution.
No, they're missing a few guys, right? Miller's still out. I haven't heard anything about him. Like, is he even back this year? Teodric Hansen has been practicing. Maybe he comes back into the lineup this weekend. I saw he was questionable today. So he may help fill that spot, because he was always a beast on special teams as well. So maybe they're just missing those core guys right now that, that held that special teams together, that coverage team together, and made the plays.
Well, that's not the solution then, because Mike Miller and Janarian Grant aren't going to be there for a couple more weeks.
Yeah.
If not for a while.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Come on, special teams. You got to pick it up. Any other boxes that need to be checked?
No, like I said, just play their game, use the crowd, and, that crowd's got to get on that O-line of Saskatchewan and Dolgalla.
I think that offensive playmaking or play calling has to be a little more dynamic. And I guess we kind of touched on it earlier with using Dembski more and using motion, but, they really got to mess those Rough Riders up. Keep them guessing, get the ball into your playmakers' hands, let them make some plays. Don't let them, because they kind of were predictable. Drop back, throw it deep.
Yeah.
And you can't run all day you could run all day, but you're not going to score that way.
Yeah, exactly.
So please use more motion and more creative running on that offensive side of the ball. Who do you see having a big game for the Bombers? Why?
I'm going to go with Willie Jefferson, and even all that whole D-line. So Willie Jefferson, Jake Thomas, Ricky Walker, and Jackson Jeffcoat. Jeez, marbles in my mouth.
It's okay.
But especially Willie Jefferson, I think, because last week, held off the score sheet or the stat sheet kind of thing, and didn't get enough pressure and on Dolgalla, and gave him a lot of time to find his receivers downfield, especially later in the game and in overtime. So I see Willie stepping it up, and he's going to feel that crowd and just go at Dolgalla. Jeez.
Yeah, Dolgalla. It's hard to say. Yeah, and with that return match too. Like, Jefferson was fierce, and you can feel his energy when they played BC in that return matchup. And this is the week after. So yeah, I totally agree. Willie Jefferson's going to have a huge game. I'm going to choose Brandon Alexander. We both pick people on defense. That's crazy.
Yeah.
He's one of the most athletic DBs in the league, if not the best safety. And I think they're just not putting him in position to make plays. He can be that chess piece where you can put all over the field. You can blitz that guy. Use him on the blitz. He can be like a Troy Polamalu type player, because I'm a Steeler fan. Put him all over the field, really confuse the quarterback, make the quarterback think for a second, right? You have a young quarterback who has to take a second to think what's going on, then the play's on, and then maybe back him up or blitz him. Just use him as a crazy special weapon on defense to cause confusion and chaos.
Totally agree. He's got to strike that fear inside that middle of the field too for those receivers. Of course, everything clean, everybody, but just put that fear in them that they're not going to go across the middle and they're not going to reach out. But BA's got to be used quite a bit in this game and better.
Yeah, he's just stuck in that backfield way too much.
Yeah.
At least what I've been seeing. And I would love to see him mixing it up somewhere in the field and really messing with the Rough Riders. Speaking of the Riders, who do the Bombers have to keep their eye on?
I think that going back to it too, the D-line again, I think they're going to be looking to fill the shoes of Robertson in this game and ball out. in place of him, and especially Anthony Lanier. The Bombers got to keep an eye on that guy coming from the edge as well. Yeah. And they were getting some pressure. I don't think there was very many sacks on Claros, but pressure was there. He was running out of the pocket. So they're going to have to keep him in check, and that O-line for the Bombers is going to have to stop him.
Yeah, for sure. That D-line was pretty efficient. They weren't giving Zach Claros a lot of time. I'm going to say they got to keep their eyes on Mario Alford. That guy is top 2 kick return in the league with what's his name in Toronto?
Leak.
Javon Leak. Jinx, you owe me a drink. Little brown jug. Thank you. All right. They have to stop them, or him or whatever. He's constantly giving Bolagala shorter fields to play with, and it puts the Bombers in trouble. So lock down Mario Alford. What do the Riders have?
Yeah, I really want to see that this week. I can't. And that was one of the kind of the units that I was looking at too, of making a big play and helping the Bombers win this game, stepping up from the last few weeks where they haven't played well, right? So This is it. If at any time you're going to need to have to step it up, this is it, because Alford's dangerous.
Yeah, every time they gave him the ball, I kind of didn't want to look.
No.
I was like, oh.
Yeah, it's just like you're already expecting him to, just give him the ball at the 50 at least already right now, kind of thing, right? It's like, no. Yeah.
No doubt. Kick it out of bounds and give him the ball at the whatever it is. Take that penalty.
Yeah, what's that penalty? Maybe that's better, actually.
Please don't. Please don't. If it comes down to it, maybe, but please don't. Bomber fans. Oh, no, sorry. What did the Riders have to do to win?
Pretty much the same to me as last week. Protect O'Gala, give him enough time, and then he's got to give his receivers a chance to catch the ball, which they've been making some amazing catches for him over the last few weeks. So just do that, and if they continue with their good field position with Alford, they're already in strong position right there. And then Joe Morrow, get him back into, maybe they were using him well. He wasn't running very well, but they were using him in the passing game and him leaking out of the backfield and stuff.
Yeah,
continue to do that as well, because the Bombers weren't ready for it. Didn't seem to have answers for it. He had a couple nice catches there. So especially in overtime as well.
Overtime.
Yeah.
Protect Olagala, don't get penalties, and don't turn the ball over.
Yeah. You could say the same thing. Keep emotions in check for them too, right? It's going to be heated. It's going to be a good game, man. I'm looking forward to watching it. And it's an interesting game, right? Because right now, Saskatchewan fans, media, they're feeling it right now. They just beat BC. They beat Winnipeg. They're already now talking, hey, we're on our way to the Grey Cup, and we're one of the contenders for the Grey Cup. So this is a game that the Bombers need to kind of stop that train and put Saskatchewan back down, in their place, kind of thing. But it'll be a good game. If Saskatchewan ends up taking his game,
your boy Ballsy's online going blah blah blah. Yo, Bomber fans, give us a like if a Ballsy has blocked you on Twitter. Let's see how many likes we'll get. Probably the most likes ever.
Who can defend the hit? It was a headbutt after the play. Even Robertson, he kind of apologized or whatever and said he's, eventually he's going to reach out to Zach Claros, but he's stepping up and taking the blame for it, which he should. Yeah, it was a hit after the play. It wasn't inside the play. It wasn't a D-line diving at a quarterback and hitting him in the head by accident. It was well after the play. There's no
Robertson
question.
Handled it very well.
Yeah. The bomb, and then the saying, O'Shea Claros spoke up, so that's why he got suspended. That's not why he got suspended. He was going to get suspended no matter what.
That helped, without a doubt. Come on now. When you got your prime player like that, because they could have easily waited till Labor Day was over and made the decision, but they made it pretty quickly.
They did make it quick, a lot quicker than they probably should have.
I doubt that they did it because of fans online.
Nah. But the thing is, if he got kicked out of the game, then maybe it's a different story and he doesn't end up getting suspended. But the fact that he was still allowed to stay in that game, changes a lot of things too.
That was crazy. Critical questions going into week 14. You go first. You got the West.
Let's start with these two teams first here, but we'll go with the Bombers first. Which team will show up? The one who pasted BC or the one that shows up late to the dance? Hopefully it's the one that pasted BC and got out to a hard start and pushed that ball down the field and made all the plays. This is a big game. It's at home for the Bombers, so you don't have that crowd noise. A little easier to deal with. So I fully expect the Bombers to come out fast in this one.
Oh yeah, this is a revenge game. They'll be pretty hyped up. They can't come out flat and slow, and they can't. Please don't throw a pick early in the game, especially not a pick six. Oh my gosh. Toronto critical question: will they clinch a playoff spot? Man, this team's undefeated at home, undefeated when Kelly starts and finishes a game. Hottest team in the CFL. I think they'll clinch. And also, I think with that win, they've clinched home.
Oh,
They
yeah.
win the series against the Owls. Mathematically, anyone can tell me whatever they want, but there's no way unless Toronto has a monumental collapse that they don't have home field advantage if they win this one.
And that would be up 4 games, right? Plus the tiebreaker, right? Because they'd be 10-1 and Montreal would be 6-6. So yeah, you're pretty much wrapped up.
Game over.
Which helps them because they've used all their buys already, right? So if you can wrap up that East division and you're hosting that East final, you can take guys in and out of the lineup and kind of play them a little bit and then put new guys, the backups in kind of thing. So
there's always that dangerous thing of, keeping that momentum of the year going. And how do you balance that? Usually in the last 2 weeks, never mind the last 6.
Yeah.
So,
well, we saw with the Bombers last year how early they clinched it, right? And then they still had buys and everything to keep that momentum going. It's tough.
Who do you got in the West?
Saskatchewan. Like I said, media fans are going crazy. They're thinking Saskatchewan's going to the Grey Cup. Will they continue to rise up to the occasion? 2 weeks in a row now, they've played very solid games after getting pasted by Montreal a couple weeks before that. They're moving it up. I still not convinced at this point. They're a good team. They'll be in the mix for the playoffs for sure. I'm not sure if they're contenders for the Grey Cup, but we'll see this weekend. I see them taking a bit of a step back this weekend.
Yeah, I agree with that. Hamilton, what's going on with Duke Williams?
Oh, jeez.
You gotta know that's the question. What
did
mess.
he tweet?
Is he it's been fun or whatever?
It was good, Hamilton, but I'm out.
Oh my gosh. Steinhauer's trying to play it off or whatever. He's still a tie cat. It's come on. What a mess. Ugh.
Yeah. And
last week I said, you know what? I will stick with Hamilton. And now this just destroys that again. Oh my goodness.
What do you expect from some of these guys, man? It's just the way it goes, right? At some point, especially when a team's losing, it's not going to end well. So, BC, they're on the bye this week. But are they on the right track after losing 2 of their last 3 winning their last game after losing 2 in a row? I think so. I don't know if they're getting fully back to what they were. Their defense gave up a lot of yards and points to Montreal last week, so I'm not sure if that unit's still at the same level. But I definitely see BC making a run here and maybe challenging the Bombers still for that first place, depending on what happens this weekend with the Bombers. But definitely be in that mix for second.
Oh, without a doubt.
Unless Saskatchewan wins this weekend, it gets them closer too.
That'll be huge, actually.
Yeah. You
can't bank on these anymore. Every time we see an ass kicking coming, we get bit hard.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to go. You know what? We talked about Hamilton and Toronto. Why aren't they playing this week?
Oh, my God. Yeah. I don't know what happened there with these Labor Day Classics in the back-to-back, but from what I can remember, that it was always Hamilton and Toronto playing the back-to-back as well, right? But now it's been 2 years in a row that they haven't done it. Does not make sense to me. That's where the heated rivalry and the rivalry gets bigger, right? And you have more fans showing up. The possibility of how many more fans would have showed up in Toronto this week to watch that Hamilton game and watch the back-to-back kind of thing. So
and ratings.
Yeah, they got to figure something out. You can keep Ottawa, Montreal, and BC rotating until maybe they find a 10th team or something like that. But keep the other 3 matches as back-to-backs.
You just figured it out. There's nothing else to figure it out.
No.
Those matchups have to happen every year. Just like the Grey Cup matchup should happen at least more than once.
Yeah.
It shouldn't happen midway through these schedule makers, brother.
Yeah, it's still 2-3 weeks away still that the Bombers in Toronto play. And the funny thing is, we've talked about, Toronto may have wrapped things up already. So
exactly.
Your marquee matchup is gone.
What a joke. And each fan base does not get to see that rematch.
I'm gonna write the CFL, see if I can do the schedule next year.
No, you're not. No one writes letters no more.
Pigeon,
my email though.
My pigeon.
Oh, you still got that thing in the backyard. That's cool.
Yeah.
Ottawa. Will Ottawa finally take the turn? I know it's a silly question.
Now or never. Now or never, man.
It has to be. It has to be. And they're playing a team that, if this is time to make the turn, it's going to be the turn against on Hamilton. So
yeah, this is their easiest game of their remaining schedule. You lose it, and your chances are pretty much done because their schedule is tough. So, yeah. I hope they do. I hope Bobby Dice can, man. Edmonton. Who knows where the season's going to end up for Edmonton? So at this point, they need to develop Trey Ford. Can they do it the right way? And then maybe this season ends up being a win if Trey Ford gets better to the end of the season, and then coming into next season, it's a lot more to look forward to for the team and the fans.
They do. They got to commit 100%, make sure he's the guy. And, I think Jarius Jackson is the offensive coordinator for him.
Yeah.
Even if you get a different head coach, I think the way he's developed in the past couple of weeks as a legit weapon in the CFL, passing slowly, getting better.
Yeah.
Slowly more efficient. He's not making huge mistakes and giving up the ball. I think it's worth keeping Jarius Jackson around.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I want to kind of see more out of him as the season goes on, the passing game, and see if that progresses and gets better. Because then if you combine those two where he can do that and run, well, look out.
Yeah.
But does Jarius Jackson survive if Chris Jones ends up getting fired?
That's what I'm saying. You got to keep him any which way, possibly.
Yeah, I'm sure Jones is probably sticking around for a third season anyways.
Yeah, might as well. My turn with Montreal.
Montreal, yeah.
Can Montreal protect Fajardo? Yeah, that's the question. Because if they could survive. They didn't lose. Well, they did lose after a while. But if they can keep that guy upright, they are a legit team. I'm not going to say contender, but they're a legit danger to beat someone on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah, they would be a lot scarier against these top teams if they could, right? Because all these top teams have great D lines, and and it's either Fajardo's O line and it's Fajardo too himself, right? Just guy's not seeing things, and we've seen it with Saskatchewan over the last couple of years. He's just gotten worse and worse with reading things or figuring things out. I don't know. So,
and it does kind of beg the question of, is Jason Moss's offense susceptible to sacks? The way he schemes, I don't know. I'm not a coach. I don't have access to that information, but I can ask that question.
Well, it's a good question, actually, because Jason Moss and Cody Fajardo are the same thing from last year with Saskatchewan, right? They're the only two constant in this situation. So, we saw Fajardo earlier when he was kind of rising up in the CFL, wasn't taking these kind of sacks. So,
yeah, then maybe that's my critical question. Is Jason Moss's offensive system susceptible to sacks? That's a lot of S's. That was awesome. Sorry. Your last question.
Let's move on to Calgary. Will last week's win, and I think we've said this a few times with Calgary, finally carry over? They weren't great in that game against Edmonton. They were down, like we said, 22 points in the fourth quarter to fight back and win that game. Now they got to get off in this game and start the same way they finished that. We'll see. I expect better things out of them for the most part this season. But I'll be interesting to see if they can actually step it up. They got Edmonton again, but when they play the better teams, will they be able to compete? Especially Jake Meyer, right? The guy lights up these bad teams, but then when he plays the Bombers or BC or something, he's not putting up the same kind of numbers.
I think that's your answer right there.
Yeah.
CFL fans, put your critical questions and comments in the comment section below. Let's go to quick and dirty predictions. Ticats, Red Blacks. Who do you got?
Before this mess with Duke Williams and that, I had the Ticats, but I'm going with the Red Blacks. I think the Hamilton Ticats may implode a little bit with this stuff. I know they got better receivers right now than Williams, or more yards than Williams right now anyways, but I think this is a big distraction. So I'm going to take Ottawa coming off the bye.
It's a huge distraction, especially with not a quarterback entrenched as a leader. So I'm also going to take the Red Blacks. Just cracks in the foundation. Steinauer, oh boy.
Yeah, it might be time.
I think so. It is a good time for the Red Blacks to have a bye.
Yeah.
Going into this game. Ticats are very susceptible right now.
Well, and that's the thing. If the Red Blacks cannot come out and play a good game after having a bye, seeing this dysfunction in Hamilton, then it's not going to look good for the rest of the season for the Red Blacks if they can't win this game.
Exactly. Yeah, they should run all over them too. Especially with that. They have a good running back. Yeah. Als Argos. Come on, let's be real here. I'm going to take Toronto.
Yeah. The Owls are going to drop to 0-6 against the top teams in the league. At least they can go back and say, hey, we pasted the Riders. But that's it. I'm picking the Argos.
Third game in the triple header, Saskatchewan and Winnipeg. Who do you got?
Gotta take the Bombers here, man. Revenge is a dish best served cold. I messed that up. But yeah, I expect the Bombers to come up flying in this one.
Yeah, but I will admit, if they lose, I will be very worried.
Yeah. To me, then I'll agree with the Saskatchewan media and fans that, hey, Saskatchewan is now in the mix. They got over the early season injuries, and they're playing well, and they're doing it with a third string quarterback.
Without doubt.
But yeah, if you beat the Bombers back to back, yeah, you're definitely in that mix. And yeah, there's going to be a million questions for Bombers next week.
And Dolegal is definitely your quarterback of the future if he's going on this kind of run.
Yeah. Yeah. If he continues to win up until Harris possibly could come back, yeah, there's no way they're going back to Mason Fine at all here. So.
Heck no. Heck no. Third game in the triple header, Stamps, Elks. I got the Elks. It is hard to win a doubleheader in the CFL or any league. And the Elks just shook off that home losing streak. So I'll take the Elks to win. And hopefully they won't take their foot off the pedal.
Yeah. 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 They continue to find ways to shoot themselves in the foot, man. Like you're up 22-0 against the Bombers. You give up 22 points against Calgary and you lose those games like in the fourth quarter. But I am also going to pick the Elks. They're going to start a little mini winning streak at home. So big win here for the Elks coming up and keep their season hopes or playoff hopes alive.
Mini winning streak by 2?
Yeah. Hey, it's better than 22 losses in a row, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. Oh, for sure. Put your predictions below in the comment section, CFL fans. It's like I said that whole thing backwards. Usually. CFL fans, put that in the comment section, whatever. Yeah. NFL hot topics. Bosa signed for the biggest defensive contract. Makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it's about time this thing got done. 5 years, 170 million. Apparently 122.5 guaranteed. That's crazy, man. But what he brings to that team, you almost had to sign that, and it's just like frustration that it took this long. You weren't going to get him for any less, and the guy had all the leverage on this thing. So good deal. Hopefully he's good to go week 1 for a full game because he's gonna need to be good against those Steelers, man.
Hopefully, not hopefully, maybe they're like, just chill. I don't want to get tired in training camp. Let's just pause. We'll get the deal done. The management said we're going to get the deal done before the first game of the year.
Yeah.
And they did it. And I think the big thing that some people are talking about, but it's being overshadowed, is San Francisco has about $20 million in the cap and even more once the details of this deal come out, when all the years of that. So they're in pretty good position, especially with a rookie QB on a rookie contract. Yeah,
they restructured Kittle and Warner, I think. So that's where the money ended up coming from. So yeah, that's huge. Like if you want to make a trade and bring a guy in, now you have that money available,
Yeah. So, and because Bosa's contract is not starting until next year. Yeah. So that number ain't changing. 2 things that you're excited for or questions that you have or storylines going into the 2023 NFL season. Give me one of them.
It's funny. Both of them are coming out of the NFC North. Packers, they went from Favre, they went to Rodgers, and now they're going to Jordan Love. Can they continue that QB line of success? It'll be interesting to see what Jordan Love can do, and if LaFleur is actually a good coach, or a lot of it, relied on Rodgers being a good player. So I'm kind of not excited, but I'm looking forward to see how this unfolds.
I don't think it's going to go very well for Packer Nation. I'm just saying my 2 cents there. Speaking of Packer Nation, speaking of Aaron Rodgers, the Aaron Rodgers effect with the New York Jets. I don't really have to elaborate on that. He's obviously a huge upgrade over what they had with Wilson. Wilson didn't end up beating him for the job.
No.
He tried, I'm sure. It just wasn't happening. But, he's going to open up that offense. And then with that defense that they have, top 5, top 3 defense, they're going to be dangerous. So there will be a huge Aaron Rodgers effect.
Yeah, this is one of those times where he doesn't necessarily need to be the old Aaron Rodgers, right? He could be the guy that limited his mistakes and all that, because he's always done very well at that. And let that D, kind of carry them a little bit.
Ooh. You got number 2?
Going back to the NFC North again, Lions, Detroit Lions. Is this the year they finally become relevant again? Can they live up to the expectations? The NFC North's kind of open. I know the Vikings are good. I Viking fans just chill. But the Lions they're stepping up. They look good to close out the season last year. Let's see, can they finally do it? Live up to the expectations and toss that that moniker of how bad they're off their backs.
So when you say relevant, what does that mean?
Make the playoffs. Appearance? Yeah, make the playoffs for sure. They have to make the playoffs at this point. Maybe make a little noise, win a game, but have this start them on their way to relevance more. And that, next year, obviously, even say they even make the playoffs this year. Next year, the Detroit Lion way is usually to not make the playoffs the next year, right? Mm-hmm. So let's see them build something and see if they can start to create a good team in Detroit.
I'm cheering for Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
I like that, dude. My second one is, can the Chiefs repeat as Super Bowl champions? I think they have the best chance of any team recently since the Brady Belichick Patriots to be a dynasty. I'm taking the Eagles to be in the Super Bowl, but I'm also a fan of watching sports history, so it would be cool to see them win another one, a repeat, and try and start a dynasty. So I think that's another big one for me.
Yeah, that conversation of who's better, Mahomes and Brady, will get stronger and stronger. I know there's a lot of other quarterbacks that are still in the mix that are higher than Mahomes at this point, but he said, he's striving to match Brady's 7 Super Bowls, right? So, or match or better, at least.
Do you think he will get there?
I don't know.
7?
I don't think so. I think there's a lot of good teams in the NFL right now, so I think they can kind of go either way. But I don't think he's going to get to 7.
With that said, I don't think he needs to get to 7 to be considered a better quarterback than Tom Brady.
No, not at all. And then a lot of people say, Dan Marino is still probably one of not probably, he is one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. He's never won a Super Bowl, right? So you don't necessarily need the most to be the GOAT.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the best passers in the game. Jets Talk brought to you by Fahrenheit Airbrushing. Thank you very much for supporting us. Stand out on the ice, pavement, or the field with a custom airbrush helmet or goalie mask. A local Manitoba business with affordable solutions for any project. Check out Fahrenheit Airbrushing on Facebook or call them at 204-891-7431. Tell them Ray and Benny sent you. Let's look into the Winnipeg Jets crystal ball and see what future faces the team going into the 2023-24 season. What are some of your predictions for them?
Nick Ehlers leads the team in points this year. Finally, hopefully getting those first-line power play minutes. I see a big year coming from him, so I'm going to predict that he's leading the team in points.
More than Kyle Connor?
Points-wise, yeah. Not goal-wise. Point-wise.
More than Kyle Connor?
Yeah.
Okay. My first question is, will Hellebuyck play less than 62 games this year? Lauren Brossois is in, and his performance last year, I think maybe they'll have more confidence in him as a backup than they had before. And I think it'd be good for Hellebuyck to play less than 62 games. And Brossois could take a load at 20 or even more than that. So I think he will play less than 62 games this year.
Yeah, as long as Brossois can stay healthy enough, I'd like to see that as well, and not have Hellebuyck play so many games and then try to have him play all these games in the playoffs as well. So yeah, Brossois has shown that he can play well in this league. Obviously, he played very well in the playoffs last year until he got hurt. So yeah, I totally agree and hope that one actually happens.
Didn't Allmark win the Vezina with less than 50 games?
Yeah, something like that, because him and Swayman shared a lot. Yeah. But yeah, Allmark was the main guy, but yeah.
I think he was definitely he played the most games, but not by much.
Yeah, that team was freaking good, though.
Oh, what a disappointment. What are your next question?
Well, talking of Kyle Connor, while I don't think he's going to lead the team in points, definitely in goals, and I think he's going to break 50 this year.
Oof. Really?
Yeah.
I think this team's offense is going to drop under Rick Bowness and the new core. I think the offense might drop. I don't think they'll be an offensively better team, so that might be tough. That's a good one, though. Could
be, but they're going to need goals, man, from somewhere.
Or play better defense.
That too.
Speaking of that, will the team buy into Rick Bowness? Yeah, with Wheeler gone, especially with Dubois gone, I think the ability to shake off that reputation of a toxic locker room is there, and they can shake off that moniker of no pushback from Bowness. They got to prove that to him. So yeah, I think they'll buy in.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, this could end up being another lost season. Possibly it could go one of two ways, obviously, right? So hopefully they buy in and listen to him a bit more. Speaking on that, then Mark Scheifele signs a long-term deal with the Jets at some point this season, or he doesn't get traded now or at the trade deadline. I feel like if things go well, things will be reconciled, and maybe that locker room gets a bit better. Scheif ends up staying, and the fans we all get together and we all love Scheifele again. Hopefully.
Hey, yeah, why not? Why not? I'd love to see that, man. I'd love to see that.
You can't lose a number one center like that, man. You need centers in this league to win. So right now that would leave us very bare with Perfetti, I guess, possibly after that, and then Lowry. So
on a contending team, on the let's say the 6 best teams in the NHL, is he a number one center?
Scheifele?
Yeah.
Trying to think of those. Are already with McDavid, Matthews kind of thing? Probably not.
That defense is sus sometimes.
Yeah. He's not a good all-around player, right? So
hey, he got the offseason to improve it, though. Yeah. I believe. My last prediction: the Jets are making the playoffs. I just think that they have better goaltending, especially that we talked about Brossoit taking some load off of Hellebuck than Minnesota, or maybe not Dallas, Minnesota, and someone else that's kind of in the mix there. St. Louis,
Nashville.
Yeah. We have better goaltending than them, and I think that'll take us to comfortably in the central a playoff spot rather than mingling with the wild card. At least, but the Jets are making the playoffs. Wow, for sure, bro.
Wow.
Yeah, Jets fans, put your predictions below. Thank you, Fahrenheit Airbrushing, for supporting Winnipeg Jets Talk on Ray and Benny. Benny, you have anything to say to our friends?
Yeah, don't forget, check Fahrenheit Airbrushing on Facebook. A lot of great helmets and other stuff done as well. So, you know what? Thanks a lot for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and follow, and have fun at the Banjo Bowl, and Gold Bombers go.
And in the famous words of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, if something stands between you and your success, move it. Never be denied. Go Blue. If you're picking an NFL offense to start, you going to draft Mahomes or are you going to draft Brady?
Probably Mahomes. Are we going based off like stats wise, or are we going on championships?
You go with whatever you want.
I mean, to me, Mahomes
justify it however you want.
Yeah, Mahomes just gets it done stat wise, right? Brady was more slow and steady, didn't necessarily need all the stats, I guess. Oh, God, maybe not.
Yeah, I'm going Brady.
Yeah.
Brady can play with any offensive coordinator. He didn't, other than Randy Moss, and they didn't win the Super Bowl. He could play with Deion Branch. I can go on and on with all those tight ends, and especially with Gronk. And he didn't really have a consistent, strong running game. Like, he was there, but, you know, he didn't have like an RB1. So,
Kansas City doesn't necessarily.
It is Mahomes. Hey, friends and neighbors, don't forget to check us out online on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Ray Benny Sports. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. Leave a like, leave a comment, tell us what you think.